You know, Netflix has been in the news a lot lately, mostly for all the wrong reasons. I mean, certainly some good stuff, like with the smash success of Stranger Things Season 4, became one of the biggest things that they've ever had on their platform and stuff like that. But, you know, recently we were talking about the fact that they, for the first time in 11 years, they had a decline in viewership. Their numbers are stagnating. Their stock price took a beating. You know, it's been all this stuff. Well, a new report just came out in Variety looking at their situation really in depth, and the picture they paint is not good. According to this report, Netflix is in a lot of trouble. And here's what the trouble basically revolves around. There's two primary factors here. Primary factor number one is something, Rob, that you and I have been talking about for years.
Yes.
Which is the fact that Netflix gets the majority of its views, not from its original content, but rather from its catalog content that they license from other providers. So historically, they've had shows like The Office and Friends and some CSI stuff, and they have Schitt's Creek, and they have all this kind of stuff, right? Well, the problem is that eventually, as more and more companies open up their own streaming services, those shows are going away. They're being taken off of Netflix, and they're being taken off at a much, much bigger pace now. Now, of course, Netflix knew that was going to happen. Like 5 years ago, 8 years ago, 10 years ago, they understood that at some point that was going to happen. So they started investing tons and tons of money into their original program. Too much money. The problem is, according to this report, and we'll get into the details here, that hasn't worked. Let's look at one thing here. Now, this comes to us again from this article in Variety that talks about the problems they're having with shows disappearing. It says this: while Netflix's top 10 TV shows has been dominated by original series in recent weeks, not months, not years, in recent weeks, broader trends point to a looming problem tied to licensed content. Many of the most watched shows on Netflix for the US in 2020 and 2021 were licensed series, according to Nielsen, with their total viewing time surpassing even massive hits like Squid Game and Ozark. Those shows included NBC's The Office, which was the most viewed show in 2020 with over 57 billion minutes streamed, and Criminal Minds, which surprises me. I can't believe how many people watch Criminal Minds, which was the number one streaming show in 2021 with over 33 billion minutes. As noted, both of those series are no longer available on Netflix. And more high-profile licensed shows are set to depart in the near future. Schitt's Creek, which ranked among Netflix's most-watched titles in both 2020 and 2021, will move to Hulu in the US in October. NBC Universal Properties, Friday Night Lights, and 30 Rock will be removed in the US, and Parks and Recreation worldwide after just a year on the service. So basically, problem number one, the first prong of the problem, is that all of their most viewed shows are leaving. They're all departing. But you might think to yourself, that's okay. Netflix saw this coming. That's why they spent untold billions of dollars in original content to make sure they keep attracting in new audiences. Here's the problem. According to this report, none of their new series are bringing in new audience members. None of their original content is creating new subscribers. Their article goes on to say this, get this. At the same time, data from streaming search engine Just Watch shows the number of licensed titles streaming on Netflix in the US shrank from more than 5,000 to about 3,700, a reduction of almost 30%, even as Netflix overall catalog grew by nearly 10%. Despite the massive output of new titles, Netflix originals do not seem to be luring in any new subscribers at this point. A recent survey by Hub Entertainment Research asked consumers what specific content enticed them to add a new streaming subscription in the past year. Of the top 10 titles cited, only one, The Witcher, was a Netflix original. And the only other title on Netflix was AMC's The Walking Dead. So, as the survey was put out, which original titles for a streaming service enticed you to go and sign up? Only one of the 10 was in Netflix. But this is where it gets even worse. Listen to this. Another recent survey by Whip Media ranked the top 20 titles that drove streaming subscriptions in the past year. None of them were Netflix originals. Not one were Netflix originals. Not one of them made it there. And also out of another survey talking about customer satisfaction with their streaming service, Netflix didn't get in the top 4. This is, as Russell Crowe Zeus would say, no good. This is no good. So on the one hand, they're losing huge amounts of content and their most popular content. On the other hand, the thing they put billions of dollars in to make up for that, their original content, and by the way, they make some awesome original content.
Yeah.
But none of it's attracting new viewers. You know, Amy, you and I were talking just before the show, and like you accurately point out, so well, but Stranger Things, right? Season 4. So, but everybody who's interested in Stranger Things is already a subscriber.
Yeah.
It didn't get any new subscribers. And that is why Netflix has this annoying habit of taking their super popular shows, other than Stranger Things, which is the obvious exception, and canceling them after 2 or 3 seasons because they're not attracting new subscribers. And it doesn't matter if everybody on the planet watches them, we don't make any money that way. So if on the one hand, you're losing your catalog content and you're not making up for it with your originals, but you're pouring billions and billions and billions into it, and you are constantly losing market share.
In these tumultuous times, life insurance can offer peace of mind that anyone who relies on you financially, a child, a parent, or even a business partner, will have a financial cushion if something happens to you. Policy Genius is an insurance comparison website that makes it easy to compare quotes from top companies like AIG and Prudential in one place to find your lowest price. You could save 50% or more on life insurance by comparing quotes with Policy Genius. Just click the link in the description or head to policygenius.com/Campea to get personalized quotes in minutes and find the right policy for your needs. The licensed agents at Policy Genius work for you, not the insurance companies. They're on hand through the entire process to help you understand your options so you can make decisions with confidence. Policy Genius doesn't add on extra fees. Your personal info is private. Policy Genius doesn't sell your details to third parties. Policy Genius has thousands of 5-star reviews across Google and Trustpilot. Policy Genius has options that offer coverage in as little as a week and avoid unnecessary medical exams. Since 2014, Policy Genius has helped over 30 million people shop for insurance and placed over $150 billion in coverage. Head to policygenius.com/Campea to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save.
You know, Rob, when the stock price dropped, you and I talked, and I said, look, I don't think the sky is falling. I don't think Chicken Little. This is bad news for Netflix, but Netflix is huge. I'm not as convinced anymore. Like this, I wish I had a crystal ball to look 1 year into the 2 years in the future and see where things are at Netflix right now. But this is very grim sounding stuff. Anyway, you read these studies. What stands out to you the most about all these facts and figures we're looking at?
Well, the first thing that strikes me is all of these streaming services are chasing subscribers. Well, there's only so many houses that you can go after. There's a finite number. And so, you know, Netflix, they're going to hit a wall. Like, just say in the United States, say there's 150,000 households or 150 million households where people can, and the rest, that's all you got. So Netflix had like a 65% market share of all of those houses at one point. That's pretty good. And so the thing about these streaming services is they know how much money they're going to get every month. That's the advantage. But when you're chasing and you're promising your investors that, yep, we're going to have constant subscriber growth, you can't do that. Like I would have thought that the business model that they have, unlike Hollywood, is that if you know exactly how much money you're getting every month, that's a good way to have a business. Now, everybody wants to have growth, but in this area, there's only so much growth you can have. Plus, now you're competing against all these other subscription services. But like you said, John, viewership, I don't think it's possible, even with a zeitgeist. You can't get more zeitgeist than Stranger Things and Squid Game. Those are the two biggest shows. And the people that are going to come in and jump into your subscription service and watch those shows, and then maybe they're going to jump out, there's nothing they can do. I think that basing your business model on increasing your subscribers is ultimately a failing one, because it doesn't matter how long you're there. Eventually, you're going to hit a wall. Everyone's going to hit a wall because there's only so many subscriptions to go around.
And they're losing that market share now to the likes of HBO Max, Disney Plus, Apple TV has come on strong. Even Peacock has been doing much better than
absolutely. And the thing about those they have all that legacy catalog titles.
Yep. Paramount Plus is
Paramount Plus. Warner Brothers owns Friends. I mean, we heard Netflix paid $100 million in 2019 to air Friends for 1 year.
Yeah,
$100 million. I don't know how it works, but I don't know if the sky is falling yet for them, but it's certainly in free fall, maybe.
Yeah, it's not looking great. Amy, you hear all this stuff. What of this stands out to you the most?
I mean, it's interesting to me because on the one hand, it makes total sense. I think ultimately, at least anecdotally, like people I talk to, it's like you kind of have your one or two streaming services that have those comfort food shows you want. For me, that's like a Hulu. I know for a lot of people, like Peacock TV is worth it or whatever. And then it's sort of that, what has the most stuff that people are kind of bugging me to watch right now?
Yep.
And outside of, Squid Games or Stranger Things, I feel like I just recently got HBO, and it was like, oh my God, there's so many things on here I meant to watch.
Oh, HBO is loaded.
It's insane. So, if you're trying to pick where your money's going, I feel like at this point, if I didn't, have an in with someone who already had Netflix who was being nice to me, I could have.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad has Netflix. What of it? Come arrest me. I don't care. I could absolutely see that at least being one. I believe the phrase is churning. Like I could see that being one that I go, I'll wait till Stranger Things comes back. But there's less and less. There's less I scroll through and go, I forgot that was on here. And it is weird because they do have a couple of those that are such insanely big names. But if you're not kind of consistently churning out that, oh, no, you know what? I am going to keep this, or, oh, I should subscribe. I keep hearing that's good. Then you're not gonna create that.
And you know what else, John? There's a lot of people, their viewing habits that I know. I have friends they'll if they work at home, they'll watch SVU and leave it on all day when it'll be like on TNT, and they'll have blocks.
My mom does that with Downton Abbey and Grey's Anatomy.
And you just leave it on. And I think that's where a lot of these viewing numbers come from. People are home and they'll put on Friends and they'll watch 6 hours of Friends episodes.
I know people who've just watched Gilmore Girls like 14 times through. Like it's,
And Netflix doesn't really have that because even their originals, they don't have that many episodes. I mean, Stranger Things, there's only 9 episodes in season 4.
Yeah, but 32 hours.
Well, that's true. That is true. But I mean, I think that one day Netflix will, rather than spend $200 million on one movie, maybe they should concentrate on making 10 episodes of multiple good legacy shows that people want to watch, like SVU, that they'll go back and repeat.
Well, the nice thing about the movie format, though, is that a great movie can entice subscriptions if it gets right, and it's a one-shot, smaller investment. They just got to stop spending $200 million on it.
But let me ask you this. Don't you love Netflix, though? Because I kind of love it.
I'm loving it less. Oh, okay. Don't get me, I still really like it. Listen, Ann and I were, like, we went swimming the other night, and we thought, let's got some time for bed. Let's put on something. Okay. So we open up Netflix, and we do Netflix roulette. You just go through, what can you find? We came across this new show. It's on trending. Does anybody know what I'm going to say? It was on the trending thing. Show's called So You Want to Build a Sex Room.
Go on.
It's an
Is this true?
Oh, it's 100% true.
Oh, Rob's on that.
It's an HGTV style show. Like it's like a home renovated show. And it's this older English lady who she was a regular designer for a long time, and she started designing sex rooms. Now she goes across America to different people who want a sex room in their house, and she designs them a sex room. And like Ann and I, like, is this for real? Anyway,
is there like 10
I take
episodes?
it back. I'll never unsubscribe from Netflix. That sounds amazing.
I unmute my computer, so I.
What? So like, okay, Netflix is the home of the widest variety of crazy content you got. So I will always be a subscriber, but I'm not as in love with it because it used to also be the place I could go to anytime and find any of my favorite shows anytime, all the time. And that's not the case now. I want Parks and Rec, I go to Peacock. I want, if Ann wants to watch Friends, we're going to go to HBO. Like even the catalog stuff is moving away. But anyway, guys, question is for you. Now everybody's frantically looking for, so you want to build a sex room. What do you think about this report coming out about Netflix? Do you think it's as serious as they're making it sound? Maybe it's not that bad. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and leave your thoughts there.
Real quick, my brain just keeps doing it to the tune of "Do you want to build a snowman?" So you want to build a sex room?
And now somebody's making that meme right now.
That might have just put me on a list, singing those words in that voice.